everyone. I'm so happy to be with all of you. I am Magdala Ramirez, and I come from the Maya Mexica tradition. We are just coming out from ceremony, from light ceremony, and it has been very, very powerful for all of us. You see, light ceremony is a ceremony that we do once a year in this time and space. And when you are asking for that light, there is many situations that you tap into it, that unfinished business and unfinished situations or issues that comes forward, and in some way bringing that light into all these parts of you, it is just so amazing and so powerful. We are tired, but we are happy. And here is Shrishti and Patrice with me. And how it was for you? Both.
Well, it was very intense, a lot of work, inside work and in the outside as well. One of the main things that I learned is to recognize the emotional patterns within myself that I'm responsible for creating and just accepting as a normal way of relating with everyone, and create the emotional patterns that I'd created identities about myself, and realizing that that's actually, those are just shadows. They're not precisely real, and the moment I completely identify with them, that's when I become that. But I have a choice that I don't need to follow that. That's one of the things I learned.
This is Patrice, and I think a really big learning from ceremony to get out of that script that Shrishti's talking about is you really have to come in with a feeling that you don't know and that you're here to learn it and show me. And so by making that sort of flip inside of yourself, you end up not going down these circular patterns of things that you've developed in yourself that get you moving in wanting the same experience over and over again. So just by saying, I'm here, I'm present, I want to know, please show me, and make that alignment to show me, that's sort of a better way of opening yourself up to not just putting your experiences in a box. And that getting those experiences in a box comes from all those things Shrishti was talking about, when you have these old patterns of behavior, and so your mind starts to go in circles, and then you end up having that same experience over and over again.
Human beings have a very beautiful, beautiful, beautiful mind. Yet it is the time for the human being to be able to understand how the mind works and begin to use a different neural network. A lot has to do with bringing responsibility. You have the responsibility to connect with the one that created you, the source. And that is very, very powerful to see that. It is through your choices. When we talk about responsibility, for me, it's about freedom. That freedom and this empowerment that you can actually do something. You have the ability to do something about it. You're not slave of your little mind. So there were situations that you guys come out with, and many, it was very, very, very prevalent in light ceremony is, well, I feel guilty, and guilty bring me into shame. Then I want to feel unworthy to receive that light. I don't know how to receive a light. I don't even know if I have a light. And let's attack whoever it is shaking my little network. And that was like very prevalent about that. Like, how is human being understanding those situations that they repeated over and over and over again. I mean, human beings right now, they do know at one point that they have their light bodies. They don't know how to use it though. Or even understand the ways of the light and how to understand and embrace those choices that you do. Do you want to choose and see that responsibility through just that little network? Or can you embrace that freedom that you are? That understanding of your own connection, that it is always available for you. I mean, we have 9 sweats in a row, 9 temazcalitos in a row, and each one was a different tone, a different teachings, a different understanding of how to relate in a higher manner without the script. The script, it is based on those little emotions that you have expectations for all your relatives. You have all these parts of it of they're not following the script. You have it as a mother, you have it as a woman, you have it as a friend, as a sister, and you have all these scripts that are very much based from the patriarchal system that limits a different understanding about how all human beings, we are all connected into the source. And it becomes very personal. All these little worlds, all these little networks that it makes you just repeat the same experience over and over again. What do you feel, Mijita?
I think that's very true. And one of the things that it was really, it takes a moment to realize, okay, what am I really being ruled by? Am I just a slave of my own mind? Any thought comes and I just go with the thought, or am I just a slave to my own emotions? Am I a slave to my body when it says I'm tired, and then that's it, I'm tired? Or is there a point in myself, and uncovering that point actually in ceremony, that goes, wait, no, like being able to see, okay, well, I have the body, it's complaining, okay, you have all these emotions, okay, see what it is, but there's this point that's really independent of all of those things within yourself as well, that sometimes it's just hard to reach to that point. But in there is where I feel I could find that freedom to really realize what in the world, like, I was really doing within myself. And that's the part of taking responsibility for, managing thoughts, managing emotions, understanding yourself, and through a different ways.
And we were kind of joking yesterday. Human beings might be the only beings that fall in the same hole over and over again, and that's part of that circular thinking. But the other part of it is sometimes we get so caught up in these little reflections and projections that come from that we think that's real, when that really doesn't even exist. It's just a reflection and projection. So one of the great things about this ceremony is having that experience where, Magdala pointed out to us, do you realize where you are in the source, and that those are just the projections and reflections, and to really feel that. And I think sometimes that's part of the issue with us, with me in particular. You start to believe all of those little attachments and projections, and you forget where you are, who you are.
And who you are.
Who you are.
I think it's very, very powerful to understand this. You see, it is a movie. And you want to see the movie over and over and over again. It's never going to change. It is the same situations that you pass through. You react in the same way. So that is exactly the outcome. And here we go again. And here we go again. Yet there is this other part in yourself that it is so amazing, powerful, the one that you are able to realize that moment of choice. And we have many other episodes in the radio that we talk about that sacred moment that you make a different choice. And what it was very prevalent also in the ceremony too is that we were able to see that hologram and even making jokes about that hologram and where that hologram comes about. Who is pushing the button of that hologram? And the incredible power that it is in the human being to understand and embrace the different experiences and go for that unique experience, that original experience that can only be through that original experience as an experience. It doesn't matter how much I tell you, when once you experience it, you own it. When you are able to experience yourself through that light that you have always been. And that it is beautiful and incredible, powerful in the way of how does this is working for you. And everyone has a very, very unique path. And it fascinates me that each one has a perception of reality. And that perception of reality, it is really in the inside. When you change and move that perception of reality, the whole is gonna move. Because depends on how much you're willing to take that responsibility of that connection to the source. You can only really exist through the source. The rest of it, the attachments, it is just fantasies that you keep on creating because you're so afraid to let it go. You think that those things defines you. You think that that world of the form keep on defining you. And everything, it is very connected with love. You are love. How do you realize that you are love? When you have been trained to go and search for love. And when you go and search for love, you fake it. You present a face. You follow a script. So when you receive love, based on that script, you don't feel it inside of yourself. So you keep on testing and searching and looking for that love instead of understanding that by that uniqueness that you are, that's where you find out that you have always been love. Thinking that somebody else is not going to love you if you present yourself as you are, it is the most stupid thing to even think about it. Because that fakeness, it really projects back just another fakeness. So you never feel it. It's like following the rainbow. It is like following that illusion of what it is instead of being real with yourself. That's when you begin to use that beautiful light body that you are. What do you feel about that one, Mijita?
Well, I definitely think that's way too important to comprehend this part that you're talking about the source, and how those attachments are really just playing into scripts. And so, like Ma's been talking about it, I realized, in this ceremony for me, it was really in question of who I am. That understanding of myself for such a long time. I was observing myself as just being, I've been operating through identities at different points and emotional identities. And I had to question all of it. And in order to see that, even in some way, to be able to see those truths as they are, of where I was inside myself and how I was understanding myself, like the patterns in my own mind. And understanding those things in some way was shifting me to another side, to really find a different aspect that wasn't about any of it.
One of the great things about ceremony is that every day you're working on yourself and your different emotions are coming up, and those emotions are often the things that drive, how we think, how we do, and to see when you can shift those emotions, or you can see that part of yourself that is being presented to you, then that's when everything outside shifts. And that's kind of what we saw a lot. Like we had forecasts of thunders, and that's how we were feeling inside. And when we could shift, that emotion inside of us, then things cleared up. And just to be able to catch it, like you're saying, in that moment where you can see what's being presented to you, and then realize it and then move it, then things on the outside will shift as well.
I think it was just wait. It is very powerful to understand that. That every decision that you do, it is coming from some kind of emotions. Even the part of you that you think that you're being very rational, still is being guided by some kind of emotion. It is always related with it. It isn't a story that you repeat to yourself, that it has to do with past experiences and traumas and situations that keep on driving you. Light ceremony, it's very different because you are able to see those little patterns and create a different avenue for yourself. And it is so powerful to see this.
Okay, try.
We are very, very connected to the source. And that source is the most powerful thing. For such a long time, human beings understood themselves as a divine seed. And it is true. It was a truth into this one. But when you understand yourself now, not as a seed, but as part of the whole mind shift into a very different network where you can operate about this without the little attachments of the little world. For such a long time, people knew already, don't take the things personal. Well, that is one realm. Yet everything is personal when it gets into the emotional body. So there is this guilt implicit when you cannot go into the impersonal or personal. The truth is that it is both happening at the same time. The spiritual work is very, very personal, and only you can do this. We can point it out, where is it and where to find it. But we can never make the work for you. Nobody can make the work for you. It doesn't matter what is the religion or tradition that you follow. Still, it is very, very personal work, spiritual work that you do. That impersonal, it has to do with, people are never into that personal. Everybody is just a reflection of everything. People will project into you. That's why it is that part of don't take it personal. But at the same time, you're projecting to everybody else. You cannot see anybody until you are able to see truly yourself in that nakedness and make that spiritual work. That it is the third realm. It is personal and impersonal at the same time. Vibration always work in a very different manner, that we need to understand the law of vibration. And then there is the essence that connects all the vibrations together. And it is very, very beautiful to see that essence is just like the beads in a necklace. That centerpiece that connects all the beads. That's the essence. When you see the things through that essence of yours, that is when everything will make sense. But vibration always go into balance. You know something, you learn something about yourself, and that vibration is going to rearrange naturally. That frequency range is going to go up. That understanding of that frequency range, when you connect, because human beings are social beings by nature, when you connect with somebody else through that love, of course, it moves you, it moves your vibration. Maybe you, by listening to this radio talk, it is moving those parts in you because you have the ability to recognize truth. And what it is truth for you, it really change and moves that vibration, move that frequency range. You get closer to that source that you are. Your movie will begin to change because you begin to tell yourself different story about yourself. That light that you have always been. And it is not in the world of the duality. It's you want to think that the world of the duality is the only thing that exists. That is the sacred triad. So sacred triad that it is within yourself. Yes, you live in that world of the duality where everything has that dual part, but there is the third part of it. And that third part of it is that union of polarities. It is both happening at the same time. And you see it over and over again in your daily life. What do you feel about that, mijita?
Well, one of the things that really was prevalent for me in this ceremony was about the path and realizing, for such a long time I had been thinking about the path in terms of the outside world, about just the form, and in terms of that duality world. But really it's in the inside, it's in those patterns, it's in the way I understand myself, it's in the way I comprehend myself. That's the path. And the path about a different realization. I mean, it's just a completely different way of being, and be able to see it in every moment. And that's why in the ceremony it was so beautiful to see, where we were inside ourselves. We would work every day inside ourselves, and then the reflection in the outside would change. The weather would, and how you say always all the time about how the structure changes, and it's not the structure that's the important part, it's the essence, because that's what brings about the structure, and that's where we need to be focusing more.
And when you're in ceremony and you're doing sweats every day, always had these beautiful messages about from the Great Mother. She's right here. She's very easy to reach. And not only that, but when you're in there and you're feeling it, you're feeling that yourself and that love and the healings that come from that. So that helps a lot, because that's when you're really feeling that connection that is the key to everything.
One of the things too that it was in the table for this matter is people saying, how can I trust myself? I don't trust myself. And yet here is that guidance of the Great Mother inside of you. Can I trust that one? Can I trust the Great Mother? That was very powerful, the shift that the people be able to understood. You see, through those little worlds, that little pattern, that little emotion network, it's very hard for you to trust yourself because you keep on thinking that you're not worthy, and that is the most ridiculous, stupid thing ever. And it was installed by the patriarchal system to you to be living in that truth, that wrong belief. It is a very, very wrong belief. So people being able to move it, that it is not about, can I trust the Great Mother in me? Can I even trust that she is in me? And the truth is that she believes in you. She believes in you. How can you not believe in you? The only one that you need to reach is you. And it is this part in you that knows how to do this. And it is the time for all human beings being able to trust themselves again, because you got this. You know how to. There is this beautiful, incredible light that it is in you. So those parts in you that you think that you're disconnected with the Great Mother, it is a wrong belief that it was created by that little tiny little network that it takes you going round and round and round in the same spot. That movie, that thing that you tell to yourself over and over and over again. Nobody's judging you. Nothing is really wrong in you. It is up to you to embrace that light that you have always been, and nobody can make that work for you. Well, we are recuperating from this beautiful ceremony, and we will do it next year, that's for sure. I want questions from everyone. We are receiving beautiful, beautiful emails about this, and so many subscribers that we have in the radio talk as well as in my website. I really recommend you to download the app Messages from the Great Mother. It's in your phone. It was very beautiful because it's very unique. It is not the same message for everyone. It was so perfect synchronicity of what we were working in here. It was just amazing. Physically, we're tired. And yet there is this incredible hope, incredible power that we're feeling it. And understanding a better way by being that unique, being that beautiful being that you are. We are opening our school online, where people is making an incredible work with themselves, with so many beautiful courses, especially present, past, and future, that we call BPF. Understanding that you're not bounded by any of this, and how to get out of that little network. You can check everything in my website too. It's magdalas.com. That is www.magdalas.com. Send me an email. Ask questions. Really, ask questions. Don't take anything as a dogma. Think for yourself. Use your brain. Your brain is beautiful, and it is in this perfect connection with your heart. Tlatzokomate for being you. Thank you, Patrice and Shrishti. Thank you, everyone, that now we are in so many places everywhere in the world. I love you. I feel you. I am you. I am Magdala.